News is a circus, lies on repeat. Anchors get paid just to bend and deceive. Scripts in their ear from the top of the chain. Puppets in suits with a corporate name. Politicians smile while they rob you blind. Left hand shakes and the right hand signs. Every bill passed is a cut on your throat. Freedom's for sale and you can't even vote. Burn it down, expose that fraud. Hive mind rising, we don't play God. Truth in the chamber, facts unload. We the resistance, break that code. Big pharma kings with their pills that kill. Petting the cure just to stack that bill. Government spies on the lives they steal. Hive mind strikes, we make it real. Wars overseas just to fill their vaults. Blood in the sand while they call it false. Families broke while the bankers thrive. 9 to 5 chains just to stay alive. Taxes climb while the bridges fall. Children starve while they fund new wars. Eyes in the sky, drones in the streets. You're a number in a file, not a soul they keep. Burn it down, expose that fraud. Hive mind rising, we don't play God. Truth in the chamber, facts unload. We the resistance, break that code. Big pharma kings with their pills that kill. Painting the cure just to stack that bill. Government spies on the lives they steal. Hive mind strikes, we make it real. Lies, change, hive don't bend, we detonate. Lies, change, hive takes flight, now watch it turn. Burn it down, expose that fraud. Hive mind rising, we don't play God. Truth in the chamber, facts unload. We the resistance, break that code. Big pharma kings with their pills that kill. Painting the cure just to stack that bill. Government spies on the lives they steal. Hive mind strikes, we make it real.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
What is going on, Hive? I hope that everybody's having a fantastic day. Oh, yeah. Got the audio coming in loud and clear. I hope that my mic sounds a little bit better. Do you know how incredibly confusing and also slightly frustrating it was that when I started streaming, I bought this mic and I plugged it in and I thought it was good to go. I didn't know there was an entire software that I could download that monitors the ebbs and flows. So there's been a lot of times where like the mic will cut out or it gets really loud, or maybe the audio sounds different on your TV or in your car if you have it plugged in versus your phone. So hopefully this sounds much, much better. And thank you to Deborah starting this stream off with a super chat. Love these quote deep dives. Watched recap from last night. Daughter had a show. Nice. Well, I hope your daughter's show went well. And I do love these deep dives as well. You got, hang on, Twine and Toucans. What's going on? Got you on every TV in the house. I love it. I love it. And Redman, Edie from Alabama. Love what y'all are doing. I hope you touch on new body cam footage some. It's insane, man. Roll Tide, War Eagle. This is a great group. We absolutely will be. And tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a deep live dig. So I have Sammy T Mafia backstage. I think you guys are going to like this theme tonight. I think tonight's theme is going to be, it's going to kind of scratch that itch for everybody. So that's what we're going to be getting into tonight. I want to say what's going on with everybody that's tuning in. We got Bobby, Robin Lynn, what up? Mitty Witty, what up? Sue from South Africa, good to see you. UFO Dog said she's creeping in the basement. That What Now Who says, love me some Sammy T. Philly Special, happy Thursday's right. Discord Dawn's in the house. I was laughing when I said, remember, your neighbor's not the enemy. And Dawn says, are you sure? You got turf wars going on in your neighborhood, Dawn? Argument on the property line? I wonder if you get to a certain age where the property line really just starts to piss you off. It happened to my father. What's Mark doing planting those trees over there? What's up, Sally? Good to see you. And Gabby Girl, Luna, Essie. ATL Drew made it on time. I love it. Power to the collective is right. Amanda B from West Virginia. True to it. Squirrel Nest, says Sammy T. Savvy Rooster. Kelly's here. And Twine and Toucans, thank you so much for the super chat. Tonight's going to be a good night. I feel it, don't you? Of course you do. Absolutely. I love the streams where when I have a guest on it, or I love when I have a guest on the stream that I can go in any direction. DA, Sammy T. And don't get me wrong, I love interviewing people as well, but I think tonight, like I said, you guys are going to like this theme. Best of Me's here. April Rain Showers woke up. It's Sarah Sleuth's birthday. Well, happy birthday to Sarah Sleuth. Core, what up? Z's representing New York City. Pandora. That explains it. What's up, Terry Weed? Well, Hive, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up Sammy T Mafia and oops. There she is.
I think Devil's Advocate does not wear more lipstick than I do. I'm answering the questions in the chat.
Do you think that Devil's Advocate wears any lipstick? Do you believe the Kool-Aid?
I do. I don't.
You don't think he wears it, or you think he's drinking Kool-Aid?
I mean, I just think some people have different lip color. I mean, yes. Could be natural, could be something he's drinking. I'm not sure. But I'm not subscribing to Devil's Advocate wearing lipstick, although I did love the conversation about him being a breakdancer, which just the imagery of Devil's Advocate now breakdancing made my heart happy. It just really, it would be like saying your father was in Jackass movies or something. Like, wait, what? You hung out with Steve-O and you know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
what I felt when I was listening to that conversation. Like, wait, what?
Yes. Well, you know what I was thinking is this Monday, I should save a broken down cardboard box and put it behind me and be like, DA, I've been practicing and try to do like one of those like head spins or some shit. But
I died when he said he used to do those helicopter things and the brush burns he would get. I was laughing so hard at that conversation.
Well, you know what's so funny is it's extremely believable. And I mean that with nothing but love. Devil's Advocates is, do you remember the Dos Equis commercial of like the world's most interesting man? He has that vibe in his own way, but it has to be a different product. And I don't know what product would fit Devil's Advocates. And someone's probably going to say lipstick.
I would say that marketing captures Devil's Advocate, especially when you don't expect that person you see in front of you to have that background, that exposition. And that just kind of threw me for a loop, like skateboarding, throwing alcohol on brush burns for his friends to see if pain was only mental. And then it went into breakdance helicoptering. Like most people, when they say, remember when breakdancing was a thing and then they just kind of tried it but failed? No, he was like all in.
Yes, he was all in. And so, Sabby, backstage,
Mhm.
I was telling you, I was like, somebody put this in the Discord. I had seen this as well. But I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna have just a very broad yet powerful theme. And Sherlock had posted this last night. It was repeat after me. The truth feels disrespectful to those invested in hiding in it. Or those invested in hiding it.
Yep. Repeat after me. The truth feels disrespectful to those invested in hiding it.
Yes.
Sherlock, always
Wisdom.
so poignant.
Yes. And I wanted to just make sure that I flash that up on the screen because I think that this sums up everything that social media, especially amongst any kind of high profile headline, has become. It's interesting. I don't know why. I don't know. We need to study it. There needs to be a literal study on why people who have nothing to do with something get mad or offended when people who also have nothing to do with something are just talking about it. And I'm not saying that to be facetious about what the Hive is. Everybody in here knows what the Hive is. And if you don't, we think past the headlines. And so we always say if you're going to be rattled or offended on behalf of others, it's probably not going to be the stream for you. But that doesn't mean that we are being disrespectful directly towards any one person. Rather, it's disrespectful what the 40,000-foot view of the narrative does as a collective to the people. And I think Sherlock's one sentence, repeat after me, of the truth feels disrespectful to those invested in hiding it, really hits the nail on the head.
I agree with you. I think too, there's also the fact that the Hive can get things wrong. And that's not, we're not going to sit here and be like, and look at this crazy shit that they said that turned out to be totally false. Everybody in here is happy to admit when we got something wrong. A part of doing this is throwing yourself in there and just spitballing or, saying, I got something wrong. You got something wrong. That's the part of, I think that's important. I think more news people should do that. The fact that they operate so shamelessly, the media, so fucking shamelessly when they get something wrong and they just do like, I don't know, some sort of thing at the bottom of an article as whoops.
Yeah, the
But
retraction.
nobody ever comes on screen and ever says, we're really sorry. We lied about Trump being a Russian agent for 4 years and made that the majority of our show. Or I'm sorry, we lied about Brian Koberger and all the things in that investigation. I mean, seriously, we built a narrative. I mean, Scott Peterson, for fuck's sake, did you see this recently? This
I've been
just
keeping
came
an
out.
eye on it.
It's an 800 page from the LA Innocence Project.
Oh, yeah.
That this judge is reading, and I am going through it now. When I say this shocked me to my core on how effed up this case was and the exculpatory evidence that was hidden, the destroyed evidence, the narrative, it reminded me so much of Brian Koberger that it was kind of unbelievable.
Well, I remember when I posted a TikTok about that. I said literally within 24 hours of them breaking that, I posted a TikTok. People said, well, it's not the Innocence Project. It's the LA Innocence Project. And they pick up a bunch of stuff. To be honest, I kind of was like, all right, whatever. So I have a theory on this. And I think this is a good exercise for everybody in here because we are the people that are defending Brian Koberger, right? Like, we're not defending him. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're like, this doesn't make sense. Scott Peterson's another one of those people. No, he's so fucking guilty. You hear it all the time, right? So
we're not defending his character. We're not defending that he was a cheating husband or like Brian did drugs or was a weirdo with women. Like nobody's defending these qualities in these people. What we're defending is maybe they're not a murderer.
Right. Right. Exactly. I agree. And I think that that's something that I keep my mind open to. And I thought to myself, well, I'd be curious if what happened is that the real people that killed um, Lacey, they saw it on the news where they were looking. Who's to say that they didn't move the body to the bay after this was plastered all over the news? And that's why she appeared so randomly.
Well,
I mean,
actually,
that's smart on their end.
Because I've got to this part already in the motion, apparently the scientific person they had that said that it had to be, her body had to have been dropped off at the spot in the San Francisco or I'm sorry, the San Fernando, fuck day is that? Wherever he took his fishing boat, the scientist said it had to be there because of the wind. He didn't look at tides. He didn't look at plantation. He didn't look at plant life where any of the stuff that was on Lacey's body and her clothes were. Like, for example, they say in the motion, she had this pink plant life stained on her pants, which shows this red algae that only exists in this Albany, they call it the Albany something, but it's a spot that's not too far, but it's where you can access from land. You can drive your truck right up to it and you could toss a body off, right? And that's the spot where they're saying, and it matches with the tides. And they did a 3D experiment. Like this actual really invested scientist did the whole thing with the wind, the tides at the time that were recorded, and the plant life that was all over her. So
I think we need, see, this is where it's like, I've been watching that. I haven't been as, following it as much as you are, but that's something that I'm like, I would love, that's the type of case that I actually am like, see, that is the narrative warfare case. That's the only type of like true crime that I've ever been into, is like the speculation around the narrative. Why did they go so hard on him? Why are they, doing a trial by media? That's the type of like true crime fan that I am, is those type of cases.
I mean, I don't want to get into, I don't want to derail this, but all I'm saying is the truth. Like when I'm reading this, it just shocks me at how much I believed. And I should have been the same way back then, even though I was much younger in the early 2000s. I was in high school. So I should have, high school or college, but I should have been a little bit more skeptical. And I just bought into this circumstantial narrative, just the way they're doing with Brian Koberger, and everybody else is so goddamn brainwashed, and they're not reading a single filing, motion, document, evidence, nothing.
What's interesting is now Scott Peterson, if we start covering that case, and let's say he's proven innocent, he would be the type of dude where it's like, we've talked so much about Koberger and whatever, not that Koberger would ever like come on the stream, but I bet that Scott Peterson would do a tour on camera. I bet he seems like he would do that.
I get the impression that Scott has been very choosy about where he speaks, because he knows no matter where he speaks, I can tell there's obviously an inherent distrust in journalism since how he's been portrayed from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I don't know how or if he would do a media tour, to be honest with you. I mean, people say he's this egotistical monster. I think he was just a guy afraid to be a father and doing some shitty things and having an affair, doing this escapism, and thought, once the baby comes, I'll stop. That's my impression.
Yeah, and then just wild stuff. And I don't want to derail that either. I think that's something that we're probably going to end up talking about. So
Yeah.
I wanted to I wanted to get to, well, I didn't mean to go to there.
Let's do that.
Okay, let's watch this. And then, Sammy, I kind of want to talk about this. You have some very interesting stuff to talk about.
Oh, yes.
And we'll get into that. So RN Court had sent me this. Tim Dillon, to be honest, I I would like see clips. I don't know if he's reading a teleprompter. I don't think he is. He's on a like generational run of these rants on the overreach of Palantir and the system. And I'm going to go ahead and play this.
I love Tim Dillon.
It's just,
I
if
just
this is
love
all a
him.
riff, it's unbelievable.
Our good friends at Palantir, Peter Thiel, and our good friends at Palantir, Peter Thiel, Satan, and many others, are looking to expand Palantir into being a lifestyle brand because what they've realized, well, Peter Thiel, by the way, came out recently and said that regulating AI hastens the Antichrist. When Ross Douthat at the New York Times was like, hey, don't you think, if people were looking at who would be the Antichrist, it might be you? And he's like, actually, it would be Greta Thunberg. Now, Greta Thunberg may or may not be annoying, but it is interesting that Peter Thiel thinks that some chick on a flotilla trying to bring rice to Gaza is more likely to be Satan than the guy building autonomous drone armies. But again, I'm not a theologist. Now, Peter Thiel, get this up, Palantir is going to become a lifestyle brand. Peter Thiel has realized that the focus has been for too long on drones and Satan. And I think they probably had a meeting at Palantir and they said, Peter, everything with you is facial recognition software and the devil. Why don't you branch out? So what they're trying to do right now is rebrand Palantir so that it's kind of like a fun Lululemon. So it's kind of like, probably it involves some wearables. Defense tech giant Palantir is selling T-shirts and tote bags as part of a bid to encourage fans to publicly endorse it. Palantir is sick of the bad press. They're sick of people pointing out that they're exporting technology all over the world for the purposes of death. They want to change that image. They want it to be cool. A Palantir shirt, a tote, a hoodie. The game is merch. Turn Palantir into a lifestyle. Surveillance is a lifestyle. Mass death is a lifestyle. The big picture, the Denver-based company releases new merch online last Thursday as part of a push by leadership to transform it into a lifestyle brand. The launch took place a week before the prototype of Palantir's new tracking tool created for ICE is expected. Palantir has a new tracking tool that will be used for to track immigrants. And just them, by the way. It's a peculiar strategy for a company that's inked billions in defense contracts with the federal government and drawn scrutiny over its escalated role within the Trump administration. Folks, you can't build a digital police state without selling a tote bag. This is how crazy everything's become. Can't you just be evil? Can anyone just be evil anymore? Can anything just be evil? You can't. Everybody wants to be applauded for doing the worst things ever. No one can just do them and make lots of money. They also have to be applauded in the public square and loved. They want to be cool. You did it. You're doing all the things. Your dreams have come true. You're identifying and killing people all over the planet with your technology. Your company's doing it. The company you started is identifying targets and helping unmanned autonomous drones fire at those targets all over the world. You're surveilling people. You're using facial recognition technology. Isn't it enough that you've made your dreams come true? You've made your dreams come true. Every young kid walking around Stanford wants to do what you've done. Put his fellow citizens in a digital cage and then finally eliminate their physical beings. But you did it. Hard work, determination, believing in yourself. All the shit Gary Vee talks about. Betting on yourself. Hustle, grind. You did it. You're going to put the country in a digital prison, and the people that step out of line are going to get vaporized with your technology. You did it. Sitting in a dorm room as a young guy with a couple of buddies talking about the possibilities of tech, and here we are. Here we are. All of us reduced to a set of facial characteristics, a threat profile. How beautiful. A digital file with all of our health data, a protest we've attended, a police record, public intoxication? Huh, weren't you the wild man? All of it stored by the government. It's beautiful. Why do you need to sell tote bags? Why do people have to be happy about their imprisonment? Why must people be? This is the thing I hate about the tech people, and then I actually feel this is why I got to throw my hat in with the finance guys, even Mr. Rubin, because at the end of the day, finance people just wanted to take your shit. They didn't need you to feel good about them doing it. They didn't need to be applauded for doing it. They just wanted to take the things that you had and keep them for themselves. But Palantir can't handle the fact that people have soured on them. So they're constantly trying to get people interested in their brand by giving lectures on the Antichrist and by doing shirts and tote bags. It's edgy. Ooh, you could piss people off with a Palantir shirt. Ooh, those libtards at Christmas are going to get mad when you walk in with a Palantir hat. How's your stock doing? It's pathetic. Pathetic, by the way. It's pathetic. You're going to be an edgelord with Palantir? You're going to edgelord with a Palantir shirt, you loser? It's ridiculous. It's insane. See if you can get one 3X for me. Have them send it. Ironically. But the point is, the Palantir Aura Ring involves a partnership where Palantir provides infrastructure and security for Aura's enterprise platform for the DoD rather than a partnership. So this is a wearable. That's coming. They want the wearables. They want the wearables. That is coming. They are building this with Trump, with taxpayer money. They know the dollar's going to crash. They know we're headed into a world war. They know AI is going to be very disruptive to jobs over the next 10 years. They're going to have to quell massive civil unrest. I hate to beat a dead horse here. I don't want to. I don't want to keep saying all this, but it's all true. This is what's happening. And I know this. I hear this from smart people, and so do you. It's not like I know anything you don't. It's just what it is. Everybody knows this. Everyone feels it. We don't only know it, we feel it in our bones. We have to renegotiate our relationship with these people. I'm very interested in politicians who want to renegotiate our relationship with these people, our Bill of Rights in this new digital age. I'm very interested in politicians who want to talk about that. Left, right, or center, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if it's AOC or Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care who it is. If you're interested in renegotiating American people's ability to opt out of certain things or to be protected digitally, now, of course, it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult, but that's what interests me. Those are the issues that interest me. They're going to make gay marriage and abortion look like a joke pretty soon, or whatever other cultural issues that people want to fight about, trans, bathrooms or whatever it is. This is coming. It's coming very quickly. That's what interests me. The politician who steps up and goes, I understand the genie's out of the bottle and we can't put AI back in its box, but why are we not thinking about ways to regulate AI? Why are we not thinking about privacy? Why are we not thinking about a human being's God-given right to live unmolested by extreme surveillance technology? Nobody has any interest in that. In fact, Peter Thiel's going, you're Satan if you try to stop my product. If you try to limit artificial intelligence, you try to regulate it in any way, you're Satan. You're Satan. We need progress in America. America's about progress.
Oh, sorry, you were on mute when you were laughing.
Oh, sorry. I know my laugh is so loud and I just can't help it. But that is so accurate. I mean, it's hilarious because of his delivery, but it's so true. And a lot of what we're being pushed into, by the way, and get ready because it's going to come financially too. because they want us to get on this. They want our currency to be digital, just like our IDs, just like the way the UK is going. They want to be able to surveil our money and our identity, and they want to be able to cut us off from anything and everything at any point, and they want to tie that to speech. And the First Amendment is the only thing standing between us and the way the UK is going, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, you brought up digital currency. Now,
Mhm.
I've always been a little bit confused on digital currency. I understand it, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of people when Bitcoin was on the up, like the up and up, right? And they were saying this is decentralized currency. It can't be controlled by anybody. I've never
But
believed that at all.
no.
And cash is truly the only thing. Now, I don't think a digital currency with the nefarious intention behind these giant companies and these giant banks, I'm sorry, I don't think that it's possible. Not even just in because of today's world. I'm saying ever. I think that at any given time in human history, past, present, future, there will always be some asshole that would come and figure out how to ruin the digital currency. They figured out how to ruin cash. They figured out how to ruin gold. You don't think that they can't do it with something that people understand even less than, hey, I have a giant block of gold. I know this is valuable. They still got that from everybody.
Well, they're pushing us to this centralized digital currency, right? Just like this digital ID. And I believe that the oligarchs who own like these tech platforms that are very like a Palantir or a Twitter or TikTok or whatever, Larry Ellison, Oracle, stuff like that. They're going to run these digital currencies. You have to have a backing for it. So like, for example, in Argentina, they have one of the largest owners of like wheat or something. They have like a wheat digital currency. But the person who owns the most land or the most thing, that's the commodity. So the commodity is what backs the coin, right? Like that's what they're doing in Argentina. The commodity is what backs the coin. So who is in charge of this? It's whoever owns the land, whoever has the most commodity. So you have to think to yourself, like, what is actually backing this? And what's going to be backing this is the richest people in the world again.
Well, I unfortunately think this might be an unpopular opinion. I do think that is an inevitable. Like that's inevitable. I don't know if you can avoid the richest people in the world backing a currency system. I think that's a given. But here's the thing. They'll get richer from doing it. Right? It's not like they're just implementing a new system.
And bailed out.
Right.
Which they
correct.
just did in Argentina.
Right. Now, I'd be curious when it comes to currency. A lot of people talk about taxes. They talk about the dollar's worth, whether it's a petrodollar, whether it's backed by gold. Look, even when we were backed by gold, were things better? Yes. I genuinely believe that there will always be some way, shape, or form for the banks and the governments and these corporations to start to collect the money. And here's what's trippy. What happens, Sammy, when AI gets to determine if people live or die, and you could choose to live, and it's almost the end of religion as we know it? Is there a cap on how much money you could hoard? Because I would guarantee you that there's probably about less than 100 families. They could have the entire wealth. We already think that they have the wealth. It could get so much worse if you could live to 250 and it's not just generationally passed down. Could you imagine if Elon Musk or Bezos or any of these guys lived to be 250 and how much they could do?
Who even knows? Let's bring back Walt Disney. If that cryo fucking conspiracy proves to be true and all these motherfuckers back in the day froze themselves in some cryo bullshit, and then we just get to like reunited.
Well, it's so weird.
But beyond that, though, what you were saying with, I really do think instead of going to this whatever new way of money they're pushing us into, which is going to control our speech, because that's what's happening, right? Like the dollar is so devalued to a point where I don't believe it's sustainable. I believe it's a total speculation scam, much of like what you saw in the Weimar Republic before the Nazi Socialist Party took over. I don't think that it can survive much longer, especially with you have opposing systems like BRICS. And we apparently are taking the route of betting against the wrong horse. Like I don't know what we're doing with our endless backing of a nation in the Middle East that just seems to exist to cause us problems and give us nothing. But okay, I
Well,
don't know, but I feel like we're being backed into a digital currency in a digital ID system that's going to be tied to speech somehow.
it's social credit score is essentially
Yeah.
what you're describing. And people used to call that shit woo woo and whatever. It's so close. It's already literally the entire infrastructure is built. They could implement it. And I brought up the US debt clock. This has been going on for a while now, where there's random like stories being told on the debt clock. I found this on the 25th of September, so just a week ago. Okay, there's a free book download. I read it. Okay, check this shit
Mhm.
out. It goes over every single thing, the Den of Thieves. It tells you how the dollar was devalued. It is an unbelievable book. It's 44 pages. It talks about the Bank of England. And I'm like, why is this? I mean, and this is
Well,
not like, it's not like school thing. Hang on, let me show you this. It goes through every country where they failed with fiat currency. And I'll make this big screen. Sorry, guys, 1 second.
sorry.
Where did it go?
I didn't mean to
No,
put my
no,
face like into the camera like a fucking weirdo. Sorry, guys.
no, you're good. Okay.
Okay.
Oops,
Thank
that's
you.
too big. All right. So look at this. It talks about the crime of 1873. It goes through, and I would highly encourage. It talks about the banking cartel, and I go, wait, why is this all being put on the U.S. debt clock? And it talks about what's coming up next. It talks about the gold. It talks about how the Fed has literally dropped 97%. The
Mhm.
money creation magic show, and it's saying the new money revolution. So to your point about backing us into a digital currency,
Yeah.
well, this goes over. Like, look at this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's
I'm
coming up
asking, why
next.
is
That's
this
the
on the
new
US debt
system.
thing? Why is it on there? They're roasting all of the institutions.
Well, the grand theft by the Fed. Yeah. We're debt slaves, essentially. Our taxes, we're debt slaves. That's what we've been for a very long time since the creation of the Fed. But it's gotten worse. And now, because the currency is so devalued, we have to be pushed into a system that is a central bank digital currency. And it's not just Israel. And I want people to understand this. It's not just Israel. There's an international clique. Most are nameless and faceless. You can name people like Medici, you could name people like Rothschild. Yes, they are a part of it, but it's an international clique of people that have existed for a few centuries that run this show and have run this show and have puppeteered multiple monarchies, prime ministers, presidents, and all they are the ones that call the shots. The intelligence agencies, when you're saying, why can't we wrangle in these intelligence agencies? It's because they don't work for our government. They work for the international clique. And the
Yeah.
international clique is what I believe is part of taking out Charlie Kirk, by the way. And they say, so coalition builders, they have to go. Like your Malcolm X, your Martin Luther King, your Robert F. Kennedy, your JFK, bye. You got to go. Your coalition building, you're seeing through the international clique. You have to go. Anybody who wants to be truly nationalistic and have the idea of you're worrying about your own country with your own people versus the globalist international clique wants and needs, they developed something like attention strategy. Attention strategy is exactly why Israel was placed, by the way, not by Jewish people, but by English people who were secular Jews who didn't give a shit about religion with the Balfour Declaration. And most people who were religious Jews, you can look back in this because the only rabbi, by the way, in Parliament at the time said, no, this is a bad fucking idea to do this. It's there to help with the tension strategy. And the tension strategy also extends to us as people, where we now, Charlie Kirk gets shot. What happens? It's a leftist. So we have to start hating the left, right? So it can't be, it has to be something that divides us, always divides us. It can never be, look at the international clique. Do not look at the international clique. And it's, and the intelligence agencies are basically like the secret police for their doing. That's my opinion.
Well,
And by the way, my shirt today is Harry Potter. It says, I solemnly swear I am up to no good. So that's the shirt for today. There you go.
Well, and you were a little bit late on the shirt today.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. It's a Harry
You
Potter.
gotta start the
I
show with that.
solemnly swear I'm up to no good.
You know, all right. I'm gonna try to explain this. So, Sammy, what you were just saying,
Mhm.
everything there, it's very well thought out. It makes sense.
Thank you.
Here's the problem. Nobody that is going about their daily lives would ever get behind something to change that or recognize it. So my question for people in the Hive is, how do you do this and create the parallel system of thinking, the system of wealth, the system of banking, government? How do you do that? Because there's people that are either lazy, they don't care, they're scared, they're controlled, they can't think critically, they can't think of the possibilities of how much life would be better without our current system. And I'm not saying that there's no good in this current system, but the things that are so bad, they have destroyed the good from even showing any of its light. And it's become extremely recognizable since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely recognizable back in 2008. And it was extremely recognizable back in 01. And it was extremely recognizable during OKC. And it was extremely recognizable back in Vietnam. And what happens every time? What I'm getting at is there's going to be something. And I think that something was Charlie Kirk. It got us away from talking about everything and only talking about that. But then this one kind of backfired.
I think, but he was a coalition builder. So I think it comes in the same, if you're challenging it, well, this has a lot to do too with, all right, I'm going to say two things. Mike Benz's theory on NGOs and what they really do for this international clique, what their real mission is, which also ties into Erica and all of her 5013C work with no Form 990s, guys, zero. But Charlie Kirk got off message. And you think that's like, okay, that's not a big deal. No, it's the largest youth conservative movement, which has a lot of the Christian, Judeo-Christian ties to it. So it's like the last man standing for supporting the state of Israel, right? Like that was it. That he had the conservative youth in the palm of his hand. And if he decided, I'm turning against this, do you know how bad that would be? Because we essentially prop up this state of 9 million people that do absolutely nothing for us, that have no natural resources. And an interesting thing, by the way, you said your train of thought there. Eric Weinstein had a great interview this week with Piers Morgan. He's the I think he's a quantum something. I don't know. He's a mathematician, super smart. Eric Weinstein, Dr. Eric Weinstein. He was on with Piers Morgan, and Piers asked him about the train of thought of like, what's happening? Why is this happening? And he said, when you order, have you had a good piece of lamb in the last year? He said, yes. He said, have you had a good piece of veal in the last year? Piers Morgan said, yes. And Eric Weinstein said, if you had your waiter describe what veal and lamb actually are, doesn't that change your empathy level? Like, to in such a way. So these terms and these descriptions of who we are, what these groups are, like far right, fascist, far left, da da da. This is purposeful to dehumanize each other for the tension strategy. And I also believe he's correct in saying, yes, that's exactly what it's doing. It's dehumanizing us to each other to make it acceptable to shoot each other in the neck, which I even believe is an intelligence agency plot. I'm not saying that, but in general, to get us to be suspicious of one another and not look at this international clique doing these things.
Well said. Well said. And I think I've been trying to think through a way, as you know, like most people in the Hive, you just kind of theorize, you think, whether you're driving, whether you're at the gym or whatever, your brain kind of wanders. And I consume a lot of news and I try to stay up to date. I read a lot. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, though, is it's very hard, going back to my earlier point of the average person, to understand this. And a lot of people, like I think I've said this before, Sammy, but the day after Charlie Kirk got shot, I had an early morning business meeting. We're waiting on the Teams call kind of before it starts, and everyone's just kind of small talking, and people were talking about that. And I go, so like, who do you guys think's behind it? And they were like, well, don't they have somebody in custody? And they were kind of talking about like the old man and all that stuff. And I'm like, you guys think like any country's behind it? And they're like who? Okay. Now, again, I wasn't saying this. I just threw that out there because whether you guys want to say it was me saying it, I was saying it, but I was also saying that there's a lot of shit on the internet about it right now. I mean, it's all over the place with Israel. Okay. And they go, no. Why would it be? They would never do that. It would be Russia or it'd be China. One guy said North Korea. But what I'm making this point for, Sammy, is that there is this purposeful, not just with Israel, it's with every other country pretty much besides Russia, China, or North Korea, we are told is really awful.
Right.
I'm sorry, like we don't even learn about them. We don't learn about them. Yeah.
That's when people like shit on Tucker Carlson, and I forgot, Dave Smith had him on Daryl something. He does those long form podcasts about World War II and stuff. Sorry, I have the hiccups.
You're good.
And basically they just smear him. Like, you just smearmonger somebody as this is dangerous. You say this is dangerous. But if we really went back and we listened to the speeches of the politicians back then that we consider evil, they're actually super relatable, surprisingly. And I just think that we've been so controlled, and it's hard to get people out of that control. But speaking of controlled, I don't know if any of you felt this way, but I felt this way watching Charlie's wife over the last, I don't know, few weeks. Does anybody else in the chat, can anybody else tell me in the Hive that they got this like impression and then they went I'm fully like, I can't, something's up, I'm looking. So I just like went full 50, 60 page handwritten research on my part because I just know that something felt off about this woman. Off.
Yes. And you know what? I've seen a lot of clips on the internet talking about it. And I saw one where I think it was summed up really well. And you have to address, does everybody grieve differently? Yes, that's a given. We are going to all say that right here. We understand people grieve differently. Now, this woman did lose her husband. Okay. But there is some context to that. Her husband didn't die of old age. He died unexpectedly at age 31. He's a very prominent figure. And the way that he was killed was in front of his kids by getting assassinated in the neck with blood shooting out and the entire world witnessing it. That is something different entirely. And then within 2 weeks, you're hosting his show. My wife and I were talking, and she was like, I wouldn't even be able to walk into your studio, babe.
Let alone a full makeup and hair and outfits and jewelry. And yeah, I hear you. So
it's not coming at her specifically. It's not coming at her specifically. It's saying the general thought of that. It is
Well,
not like he was dying of
now
heart disease.
well, now I am, because I want to research her. So I did. And the first things I found out about Erica that I could find are she created these 501c3s that went immediately global and international. The first one was Everyday Heroes Like You, which started when she was 17 years old in 2006. This is before the Miss USA pageant. From that, she started Johnny's Locker, Pause for a Cause, Bible 365, a clothing company, and Romanian Angels, and I got to look back in my notes, but it's about 7 offshoots from Everyday Heroes Like You. Every single one except for the clothing company was 501(c)(3)s. So you would have to file a Form 990, right? Well, guess what? Erica has no Form 990s, which are publicly available for these decades-long running charities up until the point she met Charlie Kirk, which is very odd. So then I thought about this, and it brought me to the perspective of Mike Benz, who was on Tucker Carlson, and he explained NGOs, which are non-governmental organizations, charities, the 501(c)(3)s, right? And what they are, essentially 2 intelligence agencies. He said they are of the U.S. central nervous system. They are this highly flexible tool, just like a stem cell can transform into any of the 220 different cell types in the human body, and they self-renew, and they can generate all these new neurons. This is, you really can't disentangle or really can't separate the government from the nonprofits, the non-governmental organizations, the 501(c)(3)s, the charities. Its origin started with the creation of the income tax in 1913, and then in 1917, the contributions to the charitable organizations, the 501(c)(3)s as we know it today. And he goes on to say, so it gave a rise to this money flow, to this private foundations and into profit organizations that would come to play a larger role, a key role in being a deniable front to run money, to establish contacts, and to provide direction and guidance to groups that the government did not want to be caught necessarily doing direct business with.
I'm going to be honest. My head is spinning by how much shit just doesn't seem. It seems like nothing in the news happens the way that it does in real life. Anything. The stuff about the autopsy, the stuff about the surgeon, the stuff about Erica, the stuff about Turning Point getting an audit, and like how he was going to get a Doge thing with Israel offering him $150 million. Now, I understand these are prominent people, but you take that out. We go even back to the Idaho 4. You go to any other high profile crime. None of them. And to your point, no business functions in the real world the way that you just said, especially when you are on that massive of a scale. For God's sakes, if you try to withdraw $10,000, the IRS will write you a love letter. Okay. These people can get it offshore. And I was talking about that this morning in my daily sting. I'm like, they'll greet you with a gift basket, right? They'll be like, go take it. We don't care. Like, it's interesting. You have to have all this paperwork for a small business, but these giant corporations don't have to.
It's not just them. It's the 501(c)(3)s. So he calls it the blob, and he says there's 3 levels to it. You have the guts, the inside, the government, which is the State Department, the Defense Department, the intelligence community, and USAID. Think of it as a 3D model: diplomacy, defense, and development. And the intelligence community the CIA, for example, plays a supporting role in those functions. And these are all merged together as one cohesive way of advancing U.S. foreign policy. But what it's really advancing is the interests of, generally speaking, the insiders, the elites, the multinational corporations, the international clique. You have this government structure at the center of it. And then below that, you have the NGOs, the 501(c)(3)s that are funded by the US government, and you have longer reach than the US government. The NGO can serve as back channels and give plausible deniability. And that's what the plausible deniability doctrine is, which was George Kennan's, like he's the godfather of this. And that's what he did. But I want to tell you that Erica started all these 501(c)(3)s, no Form 990s, no financials on record, global and international. So then I said, okay, first of all, this, by the way, they also said, Mike Benz also said, the thing people need to realize is the rogue elements of the NGOs, the 501(c)(3)s, the charities. So the State Department, the DOD, the CIA, also every major international corporation is wrapped up in this NGO flex and is dependent on it to flex, secure their market profitability, their revenues, their interests. So the NGOs, the name itself, is purposefully misleading. It's purposely misleading description because they're actually paragovernmental. We are led to believe they're these independent, non-governmental. But what they really are doing is providing a tax loophole, a synchronized U.S. foreign policy interests, and the policy initiatives and government projects that the government itself can't secure the funds for or allocate legally through Congress. So they reach out to the NGO sphere. It's beyond democratic control. It's beyond democratic control, but it shapes the fabric of what we consider democracy to be. These NGOs are a long arm of U.S. intelligence, U.S. statecraft, and is a long arm of that corporate financial donor drafter class with all their own secular dark side of global domination.
It's, well, and even when you're saying that, I can wrap my head around it, but I do think there's people that they get lost in the complexity of it. And people want to do something, just like people want to trust their government. People want to trust these public figures and officials. But it seems like even just what you were just saying with business, people want to start a business, but it seems overly complicated. How can we take what you just said and simplify that out? And that's the challenge, because like I said, I think people want to do something. People want to change. The question is how? Well, I think the first thing is people need to understand something
the system.
Yes. Yes.
So first of all, so to me, the no financials, the no Form 990s, these decades-long charities that she started when she was 17, and she's working with, according to her in articles that exist, right? She's working with high-ranking military officials. She's doing military adjacent charity organizations that are global and international since the time she was 17, and there's no financial public available documents. Now, this is when I was like, I need to look into the parents. And the parents are extremely interesting because the parents...
You're talking about Erica's parents,
yep. Erica's mother, Lori Francfee and Ken Francfee. Now, the first thing I found is Ken Francfee wrote a book in 1992. And hold on, the book was about consolidating information. And it was called, give me 1 second. As
you're saying that, you know what's wild, Sammy? As you're saying that, I just had this thing. I'm like, in a way, and I hope that this comes out the right way. The system is the killer. The point isn't about who killed Charlie Kirk. The point is that there's been a system built where it didn't matter who did, because he knew too much or he said too much, and then he became expendable. he became dangerous. So they took him out. And that system has been built to destroy and take out others when they do become too powerful, when they do know too much, when they do get too much influence, and they're not the ones pulling the strings. Ultimately, the system
Exactly.
is the killer.
And you have to know when you're dealing with people that are placed in your life. So, for example, we have George Webb, who's doing on the ground the most important work for the assassination itself. I can't get to Utah, right? Like, I'm not there. What am I good at? I'm good at digging under every fucking rock when something doesn't feel good in my gut, and I'm not giving up, and I'm going for everything I can find. And so when I find something doesn't feel right about you at 17, starting all these global international charitable organizations and all these offshoots with all these articles that basically are cookie cutter versions, kind of copy paste all over the place for the, like, I don't know, 10 years. I have a problem with the fact there's no publicly available Form 990s in any single one of these. So what does that make me think? Okay, that makes me think you're saying you're working with high-ranking military officials. Who are you working with? Where are you going? What areas? What was our military doing at that time? Because if I can't trace financials, I want to trace location, right? I can't trace your financials because this is shady as fuck. And if we're going to go by Mike Benz's theory, which is these NGOs are fronts, you have these upstanding people, but we can't get what we want done through our intelligence. The CIA wants something done, right? The DOD wants something done. Our military wants something done. We can't get the funding for it through regular processes. We can't go through Congress and ask for for funding. The American people would never agree with it. So we have to go through this NGO flex, this NGO sphere. And what I'm saying is that her family was a part of this NGO sphere longer. And that's how she got this started. Because when you hear about her parents, all right, Kent Fransky, he wrote this book. It's called the Desktop Business Intelligence Source Book.
What is it?
Desktop Business Intelligence Source Book. He also owned the printing press that printed it, which was called Hyde Park Marketing Group. And this was in Ohio. And it said, while every effort has been made to ensure the listing of sources is both current and complete, some sources may not be included. Other sources which have been included may have subsequently decided to terminate publication, be withdrawn, or otherwise not be readily available for reference. We assume no responsibility for the errors or omissions and reserve the right to include and eliminate listings and otherwise edit lists based on our judgment as to what is useful to our readers. Copyright 1992. So he's already in 1992 a wonderful source of collecting information for important things, okay? And from the quality and usefulness perspective, our guess is that this book will not only meet but exceed your referencing expectations, and you will want to purchase an extra copy for a friend or colleague. We invite you to write to us with comments and suggestions concerning the Desktop Business Intelligence Source Book, Kent Fransky, Hyde Park Marketing. Now, Lori, his wife, started a company in 1997 called the AZ Tech International. Now, AZ Tech International got mentioned in a book which is called The Blackout Wars. This booklet was congressionally approved, a task force, actually, with congressional signatures. It's called the Blackout Wars. Okay. This is you can't see it. This is a
No.
real thing. This book is a real thing. It's called the Blackout Wars: State Initiatives to Achieve Preparedness Against Electromagnetic Pulse Catastrophe. And Lori Fransky, her mother, okay, is specially mentioned for helping with this task force. Does this seem like a normal Christian trad wife upbringing? Anybody? All right.
Well, you had said that. Because I want to, when you sent me the kind of the topic of what you wanted to talk about, you did bring a good point up, right?
Right.
This aspect of the trad wife, as you say, to now CEO of a mega corporation movement.
In 2 seconds, but she wasn't always a trad wife, is my point. Is if you
Right.
look at Erica Fransvy's history, she was a owner of a global international 501(c) doing business adjacent to high-ranking military officials all over the place. Okay? And most of it is wiped. There's no Form 990s for any of these decades-long charities that she started, okay? Which is the first hint that this is not on par, by the way. These charities that she's bragging about in her when she became Miss USA Miss Arizona, for example. She was never in a beauty pageant in her life. She wins Miss Arizona, which gives her a bigger platform. But what does that mean? More press. So most of the press we get about her charities that she started and the offshoots like Johnny's Locker and Pause for a Cause and the Bible 365 and all this other shit that she started from that Everyday Heroes Like You, those press articles still exist. The point is that she brags about them and all the money they're taking in, all the good they're doing, and yet somehow Erica doesn't have to file a Form 990, a publicly available form that only exists if you take in less than $50,000 a year, which they clearly didn't because they bragged about how much they took in 1 year to help people to the point where they're going to Romania. So that's where I was like, this person isn't some trad wife. She's a girl boss. She's born and bred to be a girl boss, which is fine. But don't pretend like you weren't born and bred to take over this. And by the way, TPUSA is the largest NGO for the youth conservative movement. What do you think this woman is going to do with TPUSA?
I would have a guess. I think everybody knows what that guess would be. And there's got to be a point too, Sammy, where when you start saying stuff like that, the level of emotional maturity in adults needs to elevate above being triggered because you hear Erica Kirk. But shit, you can't be talking about Erica Kirk. No. It's like when you hear somebody say like whatever other buzzword. If your brain shuts off and you're unable to have a competent conversation.
I waited, man. I waited. My gut, it was the podcast that did it for me. When she went on Charlie Kirk's podcast, her late husband's podcast, smiling ear to ear, talking about what's coming up next, as if it's some TPUSA infomercial, my I'm not sure, went, rah. I'm going full on researching her and her family. Let me continue. So
well, before you do, hang on.
Oh,
Before
okay.
you do, I just want to say something because as you're talking, okay, look at these main themes that are exploding with what you're saying. Okay, they have taken outrage and they're essentially using it as capital, meaning that they are commodifying it and selling it back to us. We have disposable truth tellers, like I would argue what you're doing right now. Okay, that is what I would say is these people who, when they start talking like you, they're attacked. There's this algorithmic culture of like the truth tellers are really the unseen hand that could break the camel's back. But there's never an incentive for the algorithm to push that because the algorithm works for the system. So you'll notice, Sammy, you just laid all that out by researching it. Okay. Now they're going to manufacture outrage and they're going to say people are attacking Charlie Kirk's wife. No, you are simply, you could say that same shit about Charlie Kirk's wife if he was still alive and it would be put in a way different light. But again, it's that outrage that's been manufactured as capital, commodified by the system and sold back to us to stop anybody questioning it by seeking out the truth.
Well, they use our vulnerability like they did with 9/11. Like, you're not a good American if you're
Right.
questioning why we're going to war with Iraq, right?
Right.
This I'm not going to let you do this to me again. I was 15 years old when 9/11 happened. You emotionally manipulated me into believing this horse shit back then. If you think at almost 40 on October 19th this year, I'm going to fucking buy a lick of this and not sniff out that something's being played in my face, that you're emotionally manipulating me not to turn this rock over, not to touch this stove. I'm touching the fucking stove. All right. So let's continue. So Lori, her mother, developed a patent. Okay. She developed a patent. It was called computer aided methods, an apparatus for assessing an organizational process or system. Her and a man named Lawrence Guinta, both of Scottsdale, Arizona, assigners to Tech Metrics International Incorporated, Scottsdale, Arizona, in 1998 developed this patent. And this patent was very valuable in due time. Now, people say, including Erica, that she was raised by a single mother. That's her story, okay? That her dad wasn't a part of her life. But Lori, the mother who developed the company in Ohio, where the hub was in 1997, moved the company. I found the license, okay? Like, I have the license, I have the picture of it where she asked for her corporation. It's called AZ Tech International Inc. Started August 11th, 1997 at 5720 or 5710 Woolser Pike, Suite 121, Cincinnati, Ohio. The character of the business, the foreign corporation initially intends to conduct business in Arizona. Online assessment technology is what they do. But when they say foreign corporation, it just means she wants to move the business from Ohio to Scottsdale. So she goes to Scottsdale, 9743 East Sharon Drive, Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a house. I looked it up on Google Maps. It looks like just a regular house. She keeps Ken on the business. So this is 2005. So if Erica, which she states that I was raised by a single mother, then why is Kent, your father, and Lori in business together with AZ Tech International together? And by the way, how I know this is because in the Wayback Machine, Kent Fransby gets an honorable mention in, this is crazy, the report for the Department of Energy and Emergency Management. The governor personally thanks AZ Tech International, specifically her father, Ken Fransby, for helping develop this report and making this report of AZ Tech International. And that report was in 2003. So her parents were still together. They were still communicating. They were still in a company together. This whole he's an absentee father is bullshit on steroids. Now, I knew when I found, okay, so they go for a couple of companies, but this AZ Tech International, this is the one I'm honed in on. It holds multiple award scheduled MAS through GSA, General Service, and Earned Value Management Services to the federal agencies. Basically, AZ Tech International, Erica Franzi and mother, the company she owns, and her father, Ken Fransby, who was thanked from the Maine governor in his report, they provide contracts and they're awarded multi-million-dollar contracts up until 2044. 2044. They could stop the contracts with them and have an option to cut it off in 2029, but 2044, they have government contracts with, and here's what they have them for: engineering services, order level material. The duration of the contract is in effect till February 19th of 2044, with an option to end in February 19th of 2029. The contract covers professional services under NAICS, which is the North American Industry Classification System, administrative management, general management, consulting, engineering, level materials for the DoD, the DOE, the DCMA, which is the Defense Contract Management, Air Force, Marine Corps, NASA. The federal data says 2.6 million Department of Defense awards between 2000 and 2020 was 2.6 million. They schedule master plans and reviews and audits, trainings, and workshops. They have custom system setups for every single governmental agency. They have major defense acquisition programs for MDAPS, assisting with EVMS implementation and compliance, and the Department of Energy capital assets projects, supporting projects over 20 million or more. And they also work with federal energy and infrastructure projects. You're welcome.
I love when you do all that research like that, because I enjoy just sitting back and listening, because you have a really good talent to be able to talk through that. So I learned stuff. I'm confused about the 2044 contracts and how that would.
So they have a government contract with
Yeah.
our federal government that is up in 2044 with the option to end in 2029. But my point is, these aren't some Christian ministry, charitable people just running around our country and all the other countries that they do good work in. That's a front for funneling what? I'm not sure, but it's definitely a front, because if it wasn't, there would be a Form 990, a basic publicly available tax form that, by the way, I have in my hands. TPUSA has all of them. They produce all of them.
So what is that? So what are you getting at with that by saying that they produce all
What
of them?
I'm getting at is that there is something inherent about Erica's parents that have worked for the government for a long time, that have had government contracts with our government for their entirety since Erica has been born. Erica, I believe, does not start at 17 years old, an international, global charity, okay? And doesn't have any financials for it publicly available. This woman is a fucking construct. Do you want to know what a construct is? It's something that doesn't make sense on paper. This woman is a construct. She is a fucking construct and has something to do with all of this.
Mic drop. Mic drop, honestly, because I don't know if anybody truly were able to listen to what you just said, can wrap their head around this could still be applied whether or not what happened to Charlie happened. Nothing changes about that. Right now, you're going to say, okay, well, now she's running TPUSA, but you had the brilliant question of, what do you think she's going to do with TPUSA now?
Well,
right?
If we go with the Mike Benz theory that the NGOs are a heartbeat, they are the nervous system of statecraft for the intelligence agencies. They can't exist. They can't fund their black ops projects without these NGOs, right? That's what Mike Benz is saying. They're the lifeblood of this. So what I'm saying is, you get somebody like that that's been trained for God knows how long, that has been most likely studying what is the agency we want to inherit, we want to get. You You see him and point him out in Israel. You don't say anything to him. And then you go on an interview that turns into a date and you marry the guy and he's shot and you're thrilled to talk about, hey guys, I'm so excited about the content. The content we
Where did
have,
that
we
come
have
from?
so much content. I am so ready to say that this is going to be the largest CIA front probably ever for the NGO system. I mean, it's going to be one of the biggest.
You know, somebody had brought up a good point. I'm going to go back up to it. Andrew Smith said her parents started the companies in Erica's name. That could be the possibility, but it's also very weird, though, to Sammy's point, that she became the face of that, right? She's out doing all of this stuff. She's getting the publicity then from Miss Arizona. That's a little bit different than putting it in maybe in a traditional sense and framing it of, well, I'm putting this business into my daughter's name because I'm going to be getting out of my business, but I'm going to sell this corporation to her. And so who knows what that could be for. This feels different. Like Sammy said, take even Erica and not making it personally about her. It feels constructed. The entire identity of what she had done from the age of 17.
She feels like Meghan Markle. It feels very Meghan Markle to me, which, by the way, her major was political science and international relations. And do you know something? The same major Meghan Markle claims she had, which is super interesting to me because I always felt like Meghan Markle was a honeypot trap too.
Well,
so
that's like the forbidden theory, Sammy. You're not allowed to think freely out loud about saying honeypots.
You think
can't
I give
say
a fuck?
that.
I'm wearing my Harry Potter shirt. It should be an invisibility cloak if I had a wand.
No,
I actually do have the sorting hat. Should I grab it?
yeah. I mean, Sammy, you can't say it. You're going to offend somebody. You're going to make somebody's feelings hurt about saying that honeypots in the CIA are real.
They are totally real. They groom these people. We know this. We have people who survived the mind control programming that didn't survive, that didn't do what they were supposed to be doing. Like, what the fuck is her name? Come on, the Kathy, whatever. She's been speaking about it forever, the mind control. Do you know who I'm talking about? The woman.
I know her name's Kathy. I don't remember her last name, though.
I know. I forgot.
Well, so, all right. Let's talk about this then.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important to take what you just said one step further and now start to direct the conversation in, well, why would they do it this way? Why did they do it this way? Because if you wanted to take out Charlie Kirk, there is a reason why you would do it in the manner that it was done.
Thank you. Kathy O'Brien. Thank you.
Oh, Kathy O'Brien. Yes. Now, that's my question for you, Sammy. In your opinion, why would they do it in such a gruesome public manner? Now, I'm going to challenge you because the obvious answer is to send a message. I want you to think deeper because I have a couple of reasons.
I already have a deeper reason.
And Hive, let us know too. I'll put some up on screen.
It's the tension strategy. So if there is a heinous crime committed, and if you think in the international click terms of tension strategy, you need the people to hate one another. So if you blame it on the anti-war side of the left, right, the radical left and the radical right, who are both anti-war, you're breaking apart this bond, this coalition that was both saying this genocide in Gaza is fucked up, right? So now we can't speak to each other because you killed Charlie Kirk, because you're a radical leftist, because you're purple hair and it doesn't just exist, this tension strategy between countries. It exists between each other. It's always that way. It is interpersonal, but it's global.
Well, and I think too, let me ask you this. Is it because you could hedge your bet that TPUSA was a big enough movement that wouldn't die when the leader of it did?
Well, I think that might be a bet they may mistake because of the charismatic, the
That's what I mean.
lacking charisma of Erica Kirk.
Well, they
So
tried
that's
to
why
pop
you
up
see
some other
people like
kid.
Brian Hallahan or whoever the fuck that is, that
Yeah.
loser who goes on Fox News like, I'm gonna take the like, who the fuck is this? He looks like a Timu version of that. I, some cutout, right? Goes on Fox News right after this happens. He's like on a private jet.
Yeah.
Brian Hallahan.
Yeah.
And what is this, right? I think they fucked up because they don't realize that we're at this point, we're seeing information differently and apprehending it differently, but we're also noticing when people in the public eye, especially people we listen to religiously in podcasts, which is so much different than television. And I still think they don't understand this, well, how much connection that is, right? Like, I still think they don't get it. They thought we'll just pop him off, plug in someone else. Now she's the mourning widow. So she's
Well,
going to have all the fucking stars behind her, except for you created this person, in my opinion. And so when you want a Truman Show wife to show up and be real, and you see this, and you want real people who watch Charlie Kirk your whole life to think that this is something that I don't know what this is, but this is Truman Show bullshit. And I'm going to dig into every fucking thing I can find on this fucking bitch because I guarantee you she's not who she says she is. I'm telling you she's not who she says she is. She and her family have had government contracts for decades. She's a liar. Nobody at fucking 17 years old starts a 5013C with no fucking no 990 forms. This person is thinking she's going to take over and it's all going to be fine and we're all going to shut the fuck up. Well, Candace is going to make sure we're not, and I'm going to make sure we're not.
I think that the answer to what you're saying, do you know how it could all get into motion?
What?
Because when I said, do you think they're hedging their bets? You said, well, I don't know. They might have messed up. Okay. That's like the 5D deep state classic move. They're going to sell the public one narrative, right? That turning TPUSA, it's too big to fail. They're going to have his wife come in and they're going to run it. No, watch this. I'm going to call this now. TPUSA is going to start to fail because of what you said. What people thought was charismatic with the boots on the ground, burning the leather. Guess what's going to save it? There's going to be this anonymous donor that swoops in and will save it with this giant donation. And I think that that's going to prop it into something completely different. And to your point, it could turn it into what you said. What do you think she's going to do with TPUSA? That's just a theory. But I think they're going to like co-opt this rebellion. They're going to own the outrage. And then they're going to build a new prophet.
But here's what it is. Think about Kamala Harris. How much money after that slipper shuffling demented fuck known as Joe Biden got the fuck out of the race, right? We have this mentally declined, handicapped, basically being abused as an old man, right? Walk off the national stage and he hands the reins doesn't really want to. I mean, Jill didn't want to Kamala Harris. All right. She raises $1 billion something and ends up 20 million something in the hole. Now, what does that tell? And lost every fucking swing state. So what does that tell you? Yeah, money's going to buy you some shit. It's going to buy you some buzz in the beginning. You're going to get some buzz. You're going to get some fucking shit in the beginning. But I am telling you, Birdie, this woman can get her buzz while it lasts. It's going to last very short because we're not stupid and we're seeing past it. And by the way, most people are seeing past it. Most people are turned off, just like the way they were turned off by Kamala Harris. That's the vibe. This bitch is giving me Kamala Harris vibes, and I don't give a shit if you're mad at me for saying it.
Well, you do have the right to speak your mind. And I'm certainly not going to censor anybody who wants to come on here and speak their mind, as that would be an entire hypocrisy of what the Hive is supposed to be. So I think that the way that you lay out facts gives you the right to speak an opinion on, and that could be with anybody on anything. If you know the truth and you can lay out receipts, I think you're entitled to have an opinion. It's the people that'll say, now, like, this person's just a a dumbass, or this person just that. It's like, well, can you tell me why? Can you tell me? Well, no. Then they go to the news, right? They go to some parroted line. You didn't do that, right? Whether people agree with your personal opinion on that is up for them to decide. But when it comes to the facts of it, there's a giant difference. And I think that gets too cross-wired because of the emotional immaturity in our society, where everyone's coddled and you can't speak your mind. And then guess what ends up happening? We all duke it out, the people fighting for crumbs, canceling each other. And then we just get effed over by, to Tim Dillon's point, autonomous drones and the Antichrist. So
Brandon Rutter goes, Sammy Harris 2028. Yes, we can.
That's funny.
Why is the Hive so funny?
The Hive is the best. And Savvy Rooster's like, we don't drink tap water.
Yes, we can.
What if we, hey, God, what if like, so what if we all, like, however many people we can, like, regular people of the Hive that tune in regularly, what if it's like we all just show up and we're like, we are entering as a collective group to run this country? Well, who's going to be the president? We all are.
For the people, by the people.
Yes, this is the definition of the people.
Get rid of these. Can you even believe the people who are using this martyrdom of Charlie Kirk for an extension of the neoliberal neocon policies that have driven us into debt slavery even further, that have just decimated our youth, that has given PTSD and mental illness to multiple people I went to high school with that have killed themselves and shot themselves in the head? I mean, you have to be kidding me.
It's a joke, and it's a joke that, okay, do you remember, I don't know if it was you that was on the stream. I had somebody on the stream and I had said, I was talking about the Second Amendment, and I said, let's be honest, they didn't make the Second Amendment for hunting. And I asked the Hive a question. I go, when I say that, does that make people feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit uneasy, almost like you shouldn't say that, right? So the whole concept that I'm going towards right now, Sammy, is you're talking like a real person. You're not talking like some corporate suit who's trying to get people to drink the Kool-Aid and they're not going to do dick about it. No, I think Americans, not just Americans, people of the world, are absolutely done with people who talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk, right? So George Webb, you brought him up. You said he's doing great work. Well, why is George Webb doing it? Because he's not just talking the talk. He's out walking the walk. He's an older dude who's burning the leather, getting down on the ground. And I think that there's something.
Journalism.
Yes, you want a foxhole leader. That's what you want. You want a foxhole leader. You want somebody who's going to be down on the front lines with you on every issue, not hiding away in some gold-plated castle somewhere, barking demands. And then you can't insulate yourself with people who are enriching themselves around you as you're barking the demands, because you want them to feel incentivized to go carry out the demands you just barked. And that is the system that people are done with. People want somebody who's going to come in. They're not only going to say what they're going to do, you're going to see them start to do it with you. You're going to see them actually go and say, I'm going to show you a city where what we implemented is working in real time. I'm going to go and show you, not go and hold a rally, not go and get people excited. And then they get in their car and they talk to their wife and they're like, oh my God, that was so great. And then, for example, you could use something so simple as like, we're going to fix the potholes. And then next thing you know, you hit a pothole so big, you bite your tongue, and then you have to go to the hospital and get stitches, and then you get a healthcare bill. No, you want somebody who's out there on the ground that is filling the potholes in with you, so that when you leave, you're not just telling your wife, wow, that was so exciting. You have a smooth drive home. Do you get my point? It doesn't end up causing more problems.
Well, the problems seem so vast because of the way and how they portray them on a national scale. But really, we've had a functional society for a very long time that wasn't always like this. So, what do we need to focus on? And it really isn't that hard to look inward in your community and look at introduce yourselves to your neighbors, know your neighbors, care about the schools your children go to, care about the stuff they're teaching, care about the people they hire. Go to church if you're religious. I don't care what religious denomination you're in. Go to government meetings of whatever fucking board they have in your local town.
I
The
have to
point
pause
is-
you though. Sorry, I just want to pause you. You said something that I think we can't do though. Can you go to that and change anything? No, you're going to go voice your opinion. You're going to go viral on X. You're going to go viral on TikTok because you had a good rant. Nothing's going to change. You said something a couple weeks ago that was profound, and you said,
Well,
we have to
right,
start
but
holding our own meetings.
But yes. So I'm saying, like, if you go to that and you're not getting anything, because sometimes you will get something. Like, for example, my nephew Reese, he's been on the news a bunch of times. He started a charity in coordination with the Bills. He ran because we have a big neighborhood. He wants to be a barista. So we run a free coffee shop every Sunday in my sister's backyard in her driveway. Okay. It's called the Cat Cafe. And every single dollar or donation to any drink the kids make, him, my daughter, make all the stuff. And we bake things that people can buy, like cookies or pastries and stuff. It all goes to charity. That's it. You would
Well-
think like this would be great, but like New York is so insane. Like we're worried that they're going to be like a lemonade stand, like we have to tax them or something.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, and we've been on the news, like giving big checks, like everything goes to punt. Everything goes to, or we do the punt charity for the Bills home opener, or we go to local animal shelters. So like the Lancaster, this and that, like for animal shelters. And I feel like you have to get involved in your community more and start just deciding like we're abdicating from the system. Because what else choice do we have?
Well, we have to do that. The other thing that I think people have to do is, I'm going to use the reference Keeping Up with the Joneses. Okay. Sounds a little bit, I'm using that phrase. You'll see why. For example, if you go to Disneyland, okay, how much is a bottle of water? Okay. A bottle of water is how expensive at Disneyland. Why is it that if parents want to give their kids this remarkable experience of Disney, and now I know people are going to say like, hell no, I'm never going to take my kid to Disney. They're a bunch of pedos. Like, I get that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying, I'm using it as an example. It could be any amusement park. It could be any water park. It's a vacation for a day at an amusement park now. And that is wrong. Do you know how we get people to change? You stop supporting the system. But instead, there's always people that will go and still do it. And just because you can doesn't mean you should, because it's not necessarily so that people with less money can do it and all that stuff. No, it's the bigger idea of that experiences have been so they've become so corporate. Experiences are so corporate now.
When you say that, I'm going to give you an example. My best friend, who I grew up with my whole life, she moved to Arizona. I live there. She has 2 kids there. They came to Buffalo to visit recently. Okay. Do you know what grass is like in Arizona? It doesn't really exist. And if it does, it's like it could basically like cut your ankle. I mean, it's not fun. But if you have grass in New York, okay, like buffalo grass, and you have a big field in front of you and a lighthouse and a park and a stream, and you have 2 little kids, and we just say, ready, set, go, run. Do you know how freeing and fun that experience is? Fuck Disney World. These kids have never touched grass. Like, actually, they've never run down a meadow, roll down a hill in grass. I mean, that's to me like what you're saying about why should we have to pay for this? You don't need it. Everything we have that we need that really matters is free, in my opinion, and beautiful and wonderful.
I agree. Have you ever seen the uh the horse that is running on the beach at full speed?
No,
Dude, this is like majestic is the only word that I can think of.
I love beaches. I went to last year.
Watch this thing. And now I'm gonna get a damn copyright. Let me turn on mute. Watch this. Look at how fucking beautiful this thing is. Wait till it gets in full gallop. Like that just reminds me of like the little kid thing that you just said. It's like, or like the
Yes.
dog that's like
No, but it's true.
yeah.
But
Like
that's what we are. But we are all that. Is what I'm trying to say is we don't need all this
right.
and all this noise.
Well, there's a lot of noise, and the challenge with a lot of noise is there are people, and everybody's guilty of it. You need the noise as a distraction when everything around you is burning. Right?
You need noise, but you also need clarity. I think it's worth calling out people who need to be called out. I think it's worth pointing out what I believe to be rogue entities, plants, honey traps, honey pots, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm not apologizing for it. So,
No, I don't think that you should apologize for anything. I also think that we live in a world that is way too apologetic for hurting a small fraction of people's feelings in general. It could be about anything. It could be about, there's people that are going to be offended that, you said bitch. There's going to be people that are going to be offended that somebody, that's an announcer says something and it's like that analogy is blah, blah, blah. Like, shut up. People are
well,
over that.
that natural state, by the way, do you see how that horse reacted naturally? There's a natural state in humanity of how you behave when something tragic happens, when something so like life altering fucking happens. And it's not whatever the fuck that lady did. I'm
Hang on.
telling you.
Jane, I know you didn't mean for this to be funny, but people need to learn to sit with themselves and in the uncomfortable silence and solitude. I don't know why I read that in my head. It's a great point. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just like, the way that I read that in my head was like somebody that comes in and it was like, let's say Sammy and I said we were going to go like good cop, bad cop, but then she mishears it as like bad cop, bad cop. That's a comment that I think would come in and be the exclamation point of like, yeah, sit there, sit with yourself and be uncomfortable in the silence and solitude.
People need to experience life like that horse or like those kids running on grass for the first time and just realize that this is our land. This is our earth. This is our place. And when we see things that are messed up and people that are trying to mess it up, trying to divide us, trying to humiliate us with these bullshit stories, we need to call it out.
I agree. And Court said, kids need more yo mama jokes. And I'm like, let's hear some yo mama jokes while we're wrapping this stream up, because I got to tell you, Sammy, this is one of the best streams I've seen you have with the facts and laying it out. And that's why I was kind of just sitting back, letting you roll. Cause I know that when you get into those flows, I've felt it myself. When you get into a flow, you have this talk track that you want to lay down, and you did that really good. And you stopped and you're like, at one point you were saying, and what do you think is going to happen to TPUSA? You had to lay everything else out before that. And you had to lay the facts out before you could have an opinion on it. So I think that you were on fire tonight. I think you did great. And I know this vibe was a little bit different, but I do think that these conversations are equally as important to have because, well, yes, everybody enjoys diving into the Idaho 4 and diving into the mysteries of the Charlie Kirk.
It all connects.
Yes, that's my point. Yep.
It all connects. And I honestly swear I'm up to no good, guys.
Well, no, dude, you were on fire. And I want to hear at least, yo mom is so dumb she went to the Clippers game to get a haircut. Yo mom is so scary. You thought the monsters in your closet were friends? Wow. That's funny. What, do you have a yo mama joke, Sammy?
I don't.
Oh, boo.
I really don't. I wasn't a yo mama joke.
You don't have, what's your best joke?
I don't like have a prepared joke. Sorry, guys.
Oh, please. You can riff off how Erica Kirk at
I know.
17 doesn't have
I
509
know.
C's, but you can't think of a simple knock knock.
No, I really don't.
Are you Googling one right now?
No, well, it's a setup that I love because my favorite comedian of all time is Joan Rivers. Like of all time, I have a signed, autographed photo of Joan Rivers. And when I say if you were to see my bedroom, like actually, you know what? I might.
Sammy, what's your YouTube channel too, by the way? What's it called?
I don't even know.
Do you not have
Probably
one?
will be
Okay.
taken down. I have like a small one. I do some videos on there. So you can watch some things. It's at Quite Frankly, which was my old podcast because I had actually a very popular podcast. It's called Quite Frankly, a podcast about Howard Stern.
This is 102,000 subs.
The Quite Frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my podcast.
Oh, is that not your personal page?
No, that was my old podcast.
They just streamed 45 minutes ago. The Hidden History, The Culture War, The Games We Play by Nerd Trotic.
So Quite Frankly, Samantha Therese 1018 is my.
So I totally missed it. Quite Frankly, Samantha.
Quite Frankly, Samantha Therese 1018.
Wow, way to pick a easy username to find.
I really don't know why I picked that. Like, I think this is like when I first started on YouTube. I think I'm gonna get a new channel because I don't know.
Well, do it, and when you come on, you can.
Because I don't really go on YouTube.
Well, you should start so you stop getting all your TikToks getting shut down. I got my first strike
I'm gonna get a TikTok, another one shut down just today for posting a video that like. I can't. I'm gonna get my TikTok banned today, which is fun. So, but anyway, guys, I love.
Hang on.
What? What? I posted by the way, I posted on my YouTube the video where you said pandas aren't real. I just thought that was so funny.
I do have a tinfoil hat conspiracy today we can finish with. Sandy.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
I don't know if it's going to top the pandas one, but
all right, I'm ready.
And as a reminder too, the Hive Mind Roundtable is still open, birdieBombshell00@gmail.com. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open it up too for the Halloween one. So please clarify if you'd want to be in this upcoming Sunday. So in 3 days or the Halloween one, I'm just going to let it run this entire month because we have the contest going on, and whoever does get picked for the Halloween one, it's a requirement. You have to wear a costume that is replicating some sort of like high profile headline. So,
somebody asked me, Donna Basil, Sammy, how do I find you on TikTok? I'm Sammy T Mafia, but I might be dead soon because I
don't claim that for you. Jesus Christ, don't say that.
It's Sammy T Mafia. That's my username at Sammy T Mafia on TikTok.
Okay, so this conspiracy of the day is called Operation Acoustic Kitty. The difference with pandas being fake, this one is completely true and it's confirmed by evidence. So there was a wild rumor that in the 1960s, the CIA tried to turn cats into spies. They literally implanted microphones, radio transmitters, and antennas into cats' ears and tails to use them. Also, as I'm reading that, genius who's ever like, we just put the antenna in its tail.
Why do you,
Like we put
why
the
do you
antenna in
have
its
to
tail.
put in? Why do you have to put?
Hang
Why
on.
do you have to put in the fun?
Hang on,
the
this is true.
funny picture.
Hang on, don't make me laugh. I want to read this. All right, so they implanted microphones, radio transmitters, and antennas into cats' ears and tails to use them as listening devices to eavesdrop on Soviet embassies. The first test cat, freshly out of surgery, was released to spy on a conversation outside a park bench. It was promptly and literally ran over by a taxi. The entire project cost over $20 million before being scrapped. It sounds like an internet meme, but it's in declassified CIA documents. It's so absurd that most people think it's a joke, yet it's completely real. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, could you imagine putting $20 million into a cat? Imagine being how disappointed that would be. Ran over by a taxi.
Which makes me feel bad for the cat. Look at this picture.
Jane K with the top dog comment. Oh, yeah. Brandon's like, what the? Agent Whiskers, no. What would the cat's name be? Agent Whiskers is pretty good. There's got to be some funny ones that you could come up with.
Columbo.
What? And this makes me believe birds aren't real even more. But what, that birds? What? Stop.
Hive. Birds aren't real even
They
more.
aren't. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Real question. They can charge on phone lines, Sammy. That's why they land on phone lines. They're wireless chargers, okay? All the pigeons disappeared during COVID because there was no people to spy on.
I love this so much.
Oh, man. Well, Sammy, that was one for the books. I will have a quick cut of this up tomorrow. And with that, Hive, I hope that everybody has a great rest of their night. Sammy, you crushed it. And if you have any closing thoughts, now would be the time. But if not,
my closing thoughts are the world is built on attention strategy. We need to recognize that tension strategy and rebel against it, and not in a revolutionary way of thinking, in the sense of that we're just going to be anti something for the sake of it because somebody tells us to. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need to rebel and we need to call out before they even have a chance to propagandize a single one of us this tension strategy that they're propagating.
well said. Well said. Did you hear my Tim Dillon song that I made with AI about young people are okay with being propagandized? Have you heard that?
No.
I put the I got the transcript from his rant about like young people are being propagandized, and I made a song out of it, and here it is. I took Tim Dillon's rant from his podcast the other day and I put it into AI and told it to turn it into a song, and here's what it came up with. This got taken down on TikTok.
Older folks got something out of it. The young people are getting nothing.
Wait, you're lying to us and I can own a house. I can barely have a job. Forced into the gig economy, I get to deliver burritos. I have to listen to this bullshit, pretend this is real. Can't afford frozen yogurt with my girlfriend. I have to go along with this horse shit with nothing and no money for it.
If you're doing something, you wanna get something out of it.
If you believe the bullshit on the news, you have to get a little bit out of it. What Americans got for many years was a patch of dirt, a little driveway, and a chance. We don't have any of that anymore. They've taken that all away from us. job, values that match. None of that now, we won't relax. Give it back, give it back. We're getting none of that. We're getting Kris Jenner's third head.
It reminds
good night.
me.
I took Tim Dillon.
Good night, Hive. Oh, what were you gonna say, Sammy?
It reminds me of the Hoobastank. Like, why are you running away?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That's
Perfect.
funny. Well,
Good
great
night,
job
Hive.
tonight, Sammy. Have a good one. See you guys. Peace.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.